If it seems like the Republican Party is wrestling with an identity crisis, imagine the struggle of a Republican who used to be a Democrat and now says he's a Democrat again, but says he never said he is a loyal Democrat, though he also never said he is a disloyal Democrat. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, I give you Arlen Specter, mystery senator. On Wednesday, the day after Specter switched back to the Democratic Party, the Wall Street Journal quoted people familiar with the White House recounting details about Specter's meeting that morning with President Barack Obama. Among those details, that Mr. Obama told Specter the Democrats are thrilled to have you, and that Specter replied, quote, "I'm a loyal Democrat. I support your agenda." On Sunday, 4 days after that report appeared, Senator Specter was asked about it.
When you met with the president, you said, "I will be a loyal Democrat. I support your agenda." Let me test that on probably one of the most important areas of his agenda, and that's health care. Would you support health care reform that puts up a government-run public plan to compete with a private plan issued by a private insurance company?
No. And you misquote me, David. I did not say I would be a loyal Democrat. I did not say that. And last week, after I said I was changing parties, I voted against the budget because the budget has a way to pass health care with 51 votes, which undermines a basic Senate institution to require 60 votes to impose cloture on key issues.
All right, just to be clear, Wednesday in the Wall Street Journal, Jonathan Weisman and Greg Hitt reported that when you met with the president, you said, "I'm a loyal Democrat. And according to people familiar with the White House, quote, I support your agenda." So that's wrong? You didn't say those things?
I did not say I'm a loyal Democrat.
Today, the Plumline blog reported that both the Wall Street Journal reporter and ABC's George Stephanopoulos, who reported the same Specter loyal quote, all stand by their story, and that neither of them ever got a request for a correction from Specter. The context, of course, specific items on the Obama agenda, Specter having voted no on the president's budget, and he opposes both cap and trade legislation to reduce global warming, as well as legislation that would make it easier for workers to form unions. With us now is Chris Cillizza, White House reporter for The Washington Post and author of The Fix blog at WashingtonPost.com. And Chris, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me, David.
Did Senator Specter tell the president he is a loyal Democrat or not?
Well, look, unless you're in the room, and I wasn't in the room, you can't know for sure. But I will tell you this. Jonathan Weisman, former colleague of mine at the Washington Post, now at the Wall Street Journal, he's a terrific reporter. I have no reason to think he would report something that's incorrect. I actually think Senator Specter is in sort of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Let's say he didn't say that. There are several people, a guy named Joe Torricella, a congressman named Joe Sestak, both looking at running against Specter still in the Democratic primary. Now, the quote, "I am not a loyal Democrat. I never said that." Let's say that we believe Specter's side of the story. That's not going to help him in a Democratic primary. So he's caught between a rock and a hard place a little bit here.
So then from a message management standpoint, is the issue here, you let the quote sit out there for a couple of days and you knock it down on national television essentially once you've already gotten the field cleared away involving Sestak and Allison Schwartz?
You know, it seems very odd to me, David. You point out, usually, let's say there's something incorrect. Usually a Senate office in a newspaper, I'll tell you from my experience, are very quick to make sure they call and correct it. It seems odd that neither George Stephanopoulos nor Jonathan Weisman got any pushback there from Specter's office. Now, it was a busy time. They had a lot going on. But it seems to me on something that basic, saying either you are a loyal Democrat or you're not, that if that was, in fact, reported incorrectly, it would be in your best interest as Senator Specter to get that record corrected immediately, not 96 hours later.
Is it possible that loyal Democrat meant something other than someone who votes how the president wants him to? And if so, what else could it mean?
Well, look, remember, Arlen Specter is the guy who, in the vote on President Clinton's impeachment, voted not proven, which you can really only vote yay or nay in the Senate, but Senator Specter voted not proven. So he may be defining loyal Democrat differently. But again, he's trapped here in some ways. If he is not a loyal Democrat, then a guy like Joe Sestak, who is a congressman who's sitting on $3 million in the bank, who may well get the support of labor in this race, That's a nice platform to run on against a guy who has just switched parties and said he did so solely for political expediency.
If Mr. Specter is either not a loyal Democrat or does not support the Obama agenda, especially if he votes against the union on the organizing legislation, how many Democrats, putting aside those who might want to run, how many Democrats in leadership, such as Obama or such as the DNC leader, how many of those will be loyal to Specter?
My guess, David, is that you're going to see President Obama, Harry Reid, the governor of Pennsylvania, Ed Rendell. You're going to see those people keep their promises to Senator Specter because they want to keep him in the loop on things like Employee Free Choice Act, on things like health care, on things like the environment. They know they'd rather have him than not have him. That said, all of that establishment support could wind up coming back to hurt him because if Sestak or someone else runs effectively as an outsider, that the big wigs in Washington want to tell you what to do, but I'm running a different kind of campaign, it could be an effective message. So Senator Specter is definitely not out of the woods yet.
And just to back up to something you just talked about in terms of issues, is this an issue where the White House says, okay, we want your vote on health care, you promise your vote on health care, we'll let you take a pass on the union issue?
I'm interested to see how that happens. Even if the White House lets him take a pass on the union issue, I will tell you organized labor will not let him take a pass. Andy Stern, the president of the Service Employees International Union, met with Joe Sestak today. I'm sure that it came up that Joe Sestak might think about running against Arlen Specter. If Arlen Specter votes against the unions, they will be looking for another candidate. Whether they're willing to go directly against a newly elected popular president of the Democratic Party is another question, but they will certainly think about it if Specter votes against some form of the Employee Free Choice Act.
Chris Cillizza, White House reporter for The Washington Post, also author of The Fix on WashingtonPost.com, and the first person to report last week that Arlen Specter was moving from the Republican side to the Democratic side. Chris, thanks as always. We appreciate it.
Thank you, David.